Hello and welcome to the Linked Parishes podcast. I'm Donald McCorkindale, Church of Scotland minister in the parishes of Ardgour, Morvern and Strontian, linked with Acharacal and Ardnamurchan, bringing you news from these parishes and beyond. I'm recording this on Friday the 27th of February. And last night was up in Treeslig Village Hall, where we have a monthly informal gathering, some very informal worship, coffee, cake and conversation. And well, I'm saying regular, it hadn't happened while I was off ill, but good to get back into a routine with that. And we were talking about future dates, and looking at the diary today realised that it was even more complicated. But very probably the 19th of March for the next gathering at Treeslig Hall. But dates will be confirmed very soon. We had a good conversation around some Lenten ideas, different things that we think about the season of Lent and how it can be a time of self-reflection, a time to reflect upon our journey with God in Christ. We got on to talking about Jonah, one of my favourite books in the Bible, perhaps because I think 40-some years ago, I had a bit of a Jonah experience myself, leaving school with an idea that I was going to be a minister, but not quite being sure that I was ready for that. And so went off to my Tarshish, off to university to study accountancy and marketing and things like that. But God had other plans. And, well, there are different ways that God gets us back onto the path that he wants. Maybe sometimes it is a big fish. At other times it's some exams that don't go too well. And, well, the rest, as they say, is history. And I found myself studying theology. It's a wonderful story. Sometimes said that the New Testament lies hidden in the Old. And I think that's certainly true of the story of Jonah, the reluctant prophet. Maybe he couldn't quite understand why God would want good news proclaimed to enemy peoples. Nineveh was within Assyria and certainly not on the most friendly of terms with Israel. But God's love is always bigger than our fears, our imaginations. Jonah went off into the boat to escape from what he felt God was wanting him to do. We're told he goes down to Joppa, he goes down into the boat and down into the lower deck. He was asleep. And the captain, the skipper, comes to him and says, "Come on, wake up, sleeper. Why don't you pray to your God? Maybe your God will be the one to save us." Well, the story unfolds and Jonah thrown into the sea, swallowed up by the big fish. I don't know exactly what happened, but it's a great story that tells that metaphor, that story that God will find a way to bring us to the place where we're meant to be. And our understanding of God is always limited. There's always more to the God that we try and put into a box, we try to understand. Jonah couldn't understand that God would want to save the Ninevites. They were a bad lot. The story ends, chapter 4, that bit where Jonah is angry because he hasn't been protected from the sun in the shade of a plant. And God is saying to him, "You're worrying about that. Didn't you really think that my love would reach to all people and that I love the Ninevites as much as the Israelites?" We also got on to talking about the Bible online. How do you like to read the Bible? A book or an app? If you want to explore some of that, do have a look at Bible.com. And from there, either on the web, you can read or listen to Bible passages. The whole Bible's there in many, many languages and translations. And there's also an app for Apple iPhone, iPad, or for Android devices. So Bible.com is a great resource and entirely free. So maybe in your Lenten journey, maybe an opportunity to make a little more time for God and for reading the scriptures, and maybe trying that in a different way. World Day of Prayer is coming up soon. It's always the first Friday in March. And so Friday the 6th of March, it's next Friday, into March already, goodness. And the material this year comes from Christian women in Nigeria. Did you know that Nigeria is the most populated of the African nations? A population of some 221 million, I think it is. So the World Day of Prayer service comes from Nigeria this year, and we will be marking that in service on Friday the 6th at Ardgour Church at 3 o'clock. Bible passage that is used within that service, just a short reading from Matthew 11, says to us, "Come to me, all you who are weary and are carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden light." And looking a little further ahead, Christian Aid Week this year falls 10th to the 16th of May, and we will be marking that in different ways around the church and community. If that's something that you would like to be involved in thinking about how we might raise some funds for Christian Aid and how we might celebrate and give thanks for their work in our worship, always good resources from Christian Aid for Christian Aid Week. If you'd like to be involved, then do let myself or Ella or Duncan or one of the elders know, and we will get you involved. And well, that's into May. That's still quite a bit away. We've got the rest of Lent, Holy Week, and Easter prior to that. Holy Week services are now all confirmed, and you'll find the dates. You'll find that information on the church website, www.peninsulachurches.org.uk/Lent will take you directly to the page there. Easter Sunday, the 5th of April, there'll be worship in all the churches, and also at 8 o'clock in the morning, Easter Sunday morning, a little after dawn service at 8 o'clock at Salachan Beach. Wednesday evening prayers is now back on track, 10 o'clock every Wednesday evening. And the podcast, we'll keep that going with an update every Friday. Thank you for listening. And we will have some guests in future episodes. Monthly worship online with communion will be on the fourth Sunday of each month. We had quite a relatively large crowd last Sunday for that. It's the fourth Sunday of March, which will be the 22nd of March, 4:30 on Zoom. And if you don't have the Zoom code for that, then do be in touch with me or someone else who might know. You can contact me on dmccorkindale@churchofscotland.org.uk. I mentioned the wee passage from Matthew 11, which will feature in the World Day of Prayer service. Let's finish off as we hear these words again. Jesus said, "Come to me, all of you who are tired from carrying heavy loads, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke and put it on you, and learn from me, because I am gentle and humble in spirit, and you will find rest. For the yoke I will give you is easy, and the load I will put on you is light." Thank you for listening to the Link Parishes podcast. For information about all that's happening around the Peninsula Churches, do check out www.peninsulachurches.org.uk. God bless you all.